Okay, Cuauhtemoc, have you had a chance to upload the information from
Yeah.
your handout?
Yes.
All right, let's take a look. All right. Okay, so you wish to find that information. Have you had a chance to upload some information to your literature review?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because you said that you want to meet before the tutoring session.
Ah,
Because the
okay.
information wasn't complete.
Okay.
And I think I
All right,
clarified
so
some
let's take it.
ideas.
All right. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, so I wish to learn more about formative assessment in the reading skill because I want to find out how teachers provide formative assessment in order to understand what processes are applied to improve the student's learning so that I use appropriate processes. Okay, so I wish to learn more about formative assessment. Now, have you found some primary research articles that relate to the study that you want to do?
It was a little bit difficult to find some information about the topic because I want to find articles about reading formative assessment.
Uh-huh.
And I have a question.
Yes.
In my letter review, can I find information like separate? Well, talking about formative assessment and reading, and specifically with the reading skill.
Well, you want to try your
Because
best.
to find together
It's difficult.
is a little bit difficult.
All right. Okay, so let's take a look here. We've got an article that's called A New Formative Assessment Technology for Reading and Writing. Let's take a look at this. All right, now here's a research study, and it looks like this is primary research, but they assess a particular type of technology. Okay, now you may want to look at. I mean, one option is to get ideas from this and how you might look at a certain type of technology and how they use that technology to provide formative assessment for reading comprehension. Or it might be, for example, if you're looking at reading comprehension, you know, even I mean, there's a lot of different examples. Like maybe they use movies and they use subtitles, and the students have to read the text along with the movie. Okay, and that would be, you could be focusing on that. You could focus. Let's see. Here it says integrates assessment and reading comprehension with writing. Well, this is writing, but it's reading and writing about what they learned based on the principles of immediate feedback. Right to learn is a combination of summative and formative assessment, seeks to encourage, instruct, and reward progress in reading. Okay. Let's take a look at another article. You might look at this. Let's take a look at another one. Reading comprehension, what every teacher needs to know. Okay, we have one here. Okay.
This is, I think, similar to the one you.
All right. So, computerized formative assessment of reading comprehension. Okay, so again, this article that you're presenting here talks about using different types of technology. The only thing with this is that you'll need to find someone who's using technology, whatever type of technology you want to discuss. How likely is it that you'll find teachers that are using technology for reading comprehension? That's my doubt. Hopefully you can find someone, but if you think that a lot of teachers here in Mexico are not using technology,
I think that it's difficult.
then you need to focus on something.
Yes.
You need to focus on something else, something that's perhaps not technology driven, something that doesn't talk about technology. So it talks more about strategies, teaching techniques for reading comprehension.
And that's why I say it was difficult for me to find some articles related to that.
So, for example, here maybe we use search terms like just reading comprehension. Okay. Now, if we open up our search to reading comprehension, we get a lot of hits. 2,000 articles. Now let's limit this. See if we can type in formative assessment. See what happens here.
I was looking just
so that's 4. All right. So how about assessment? So this opens it up a little bit if I just type in assessment. Now reading comprehension.
But are they primary research?
Most of these should be primary research. We'll have to you have to check each one, but most of these because if you check publicaciones académicas and texto completo, most of these should be.
Because I found a lot of them, but I didn't know if they were primary research because I was looking for the method section, the instrument, the conclusion and the discussion and the
most of them should be primary research, but you will have to check each one. For example, here it's very clear method, participants, results. And so the reading of from screen on the 5th grade elementary schools, the reading comprehension, informative, and narrative text. So you might want to just take note here. I used reading comprehension, and then I also used assessment. And you still may have to go through here and be selective, see which ones work for you and which ones don't. But you might also use another term. techniques. And you still get at 200 hits, over 200. The effects of the reading comprehension technique. So here, maybe you look at one technique, okay, and you find parts of this technique that maybe apply or maybe are common. You always have to ask yourself, whatever technique you want to talk about in your literature review, also think about how you will relate and link that to your own research here in Mexico. So if a technique just does not relate to your experiences here, then maybe you shouldn't include it. I mean, you can include it but you have to link it some way to your research. But maybe the formative assessment piece isn't like the main idea. Maybe you mention it briefly. Maybe you don't mention it. It depends on the technique. It depends on the other information that you have here. So I think just by using reading comprehension techniques and then also using the search terms reading comprehension assessment, you're going to have literally hundreds that you can choose from, and you only need about between 2 to 4. I mean, you could use more to get more ideas, but I think you'll find what you need by looking at those terms. And then once you do your readings, then go back to this page, Cuauhtemoc, and look at the step 1. I wish to learn more about, and then maybe you have to adapt that a little bit.
Okay.
Teaching techniques for reading comprehension.
According to the information that
and I want to find out, and then this piece, the second piece that makes up, your step 1 is this part that I'm highlighting here. This is the part where you're going to get your research questions. Your research questions should come directly from what I've highlighted here. All right, and so maybe you need to adapt this, and this needs to be more specific than what you have here, based on the literature that you're coming across now. Maybe if you talk about techniques, maybe you talk about a particular technique, some aspect of one technique that addresses helping students learn or increase their reading comprehension. Now, you're not going to measure increasing the reading comprehension, but everything is to help them practice. Maybe you use the word to help practice reading comprehension in the classroom. And, that could be your focus. So I think there's a lot of information here to choose from, but you still need to narrow it down. And I think just by using these search terms, I think you'll have more articles to choose from. Like reciprocal teaching. This is another good reciprocal teaching. This is a teaching technique.
I would like to specify the topic because I don't know. I feel kind of frustrated because I didn't advance in the working in the final paper, and
Well, here I think if you use these terms, so reading comprehension and techniques. I see, just like how I'm doing it here.
Can I take one?
Sure, and we're recording this conversation.
Okay.
Right, and I'll upload this to Canvas, and you can go back and listen to it and watch everything that I have on my screen. You'll be able to see. So reading comprehension and techniques, 233 articles. Assessment, you have 375. Now maybe some of these articles are the same, but you still have a lot to choose from. What else? Reading comprehension, and let's see, there was one technique on here, reciprocal teaching. I'm just curious, if I type in reciprocal teaching, reading comprehension, now look at it, I'm narrowing it down, but look, there's still 16 articles. You might focus on reciprocal teaching only and bring in concepts that relate to reciprocal teaching. This is just an example. I mean, I haven't read these, but you can go in here and you say, oh, you know what, maybe I want to focus on reciprocal teaching. Maybe you could do an intervention, ask a teacher or a couple of teachers to try reciprocal teaching. Or if there's certain aspects of reciprocal teaching that you think are common, that maybe you can observe teachers doing. Maybe they don't call it reciprocal teaching, but maybe based on the definition, they are doing parts of reciprocal teaching. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just how I narrowed it down, I just narrowed it, and 16 is still a lot of articles. Maybe all you need are 3 or 4, and maybe those you can talk about just reciprocal teaching, and your whole focus on your whole study is about reciprocal teaching. And I bet this technique includes a lot of different related concepts, theory. Maybe even element of social cultural theory, right? Maybe there's some discussion about using exchanges in the classroom. Okay, there's a lot of theory that may relate to that one technique. Okay, so you're not talking about the one technique throughout your entire literature review. You're talking about concepts that relate to the technique. And maybe at the very end of your literature review, you talk specifically about the technique. But maybe before it's more theoretical, and you talk about different related topics. Okay, so every primary research article that you find here is going to have its own theory. So review that literature review. You're reviewing all these literature reviews to get all these ideas about what you want to include in your own literature review, as well as topic problems, research problems that you can focus on, or ideas that you can get, research questions, instruments, procedures, so on. So try to get look at, here's another search term, reciprocal teaching. Let's look at another example. Let's see. See if there's another. Using Bloom's taxonomy. So maybe let's see if we use Bloom's taxonomy and reading comprehension. We're looking for both of these terms. Well, this limits it to only 2, but I don't know. Maybe these 2 will be useful, right? So see how I'm narrowing it down to you, and I'm just experimenting with these different search terms. And this is what you need to do also, is go experiment with these different search terms until you get the articles. And again, you really only need 3, anywhere between 2 to 4 good research articles that really relates to the focus of your topic. And we're still trying to narrow this down. We're still trying to get this down to a manageable research topic. Let's see. Let's look at one more example. Okay, vocabulary development. I mean, this is just another example of vocabulary. So vocabulary development and reading comprehension. Let's see how many hits we get. Internet's kind of slow here. But the searches that I'm doing here, okay, there's 24 hits. So I'm giving you examples here, but you decide. It has to be something, obviously, that you think, that you're interested in, that you want to pursue, right, that you want to research. It has to be something significant, and all of these, I think, are all significant. Looking at vocabulary development and reading comprehension, you might look at that one technique that we looked at earlier. But it's just reading, and when you go into each one of these, you don't have to read the whole article. Just read the research questions, the problem that they're looking at. Read the abstract first. Even from the abstract, you might get an idea, this might help or this doesn't. Read the abstract first. And if it doesn't look interesting from the abstract, well, just move on. All right? So You don't have to spend a lot of time. You should be able to find within an hour or two. You should find 2 or 3 articles that you say, okay, this is really related. I want to do something very similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first, I have to find some articles, as you said. It doesn't matter that they are a little bit not specifically with formative assessment, but
Right.
it could be including the content of the main topic.
Right. For right now, let's put formative assessment off
Because
to
it's
the
gonna be the
side.
main area. Formative assessment in reading comprehension, could I say?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Cuauhtemoc, my idea. I mean, do you really want to do formative assessment? Is that like? Here's the thing: if you can't find a lot of good information on formative assessment specifically, okay, maybe that's not the main point or the main topic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you find information, fine. But if you're feeling frustrated because you can't find a lot of primary research articles related to formative assessment and reading comprehension, my suggestion would be to let's change the focus just a little bit. Okay? And what just as we're doing here by experimenting with different search terms, you might find or get an idea about how you might use, instead of saying formative assessment, you might say reciprocal teaching and reading assessment might be the key terms. And maybe formative assessment's in there just a little bit, maybe it's not at all, I don't know. But my idea here is, my suggestion to you is, at this point we're still exploring to get the topic right. So don't feel that if you're gonna, if you're really focused only on formative assessment, that's fine if you find articles. But if you don't find articles, let's change the topic a little bit. We're still focusing on reading comprehension, but maybe we're focusing on reciprocal teaching, for example. And maybe within reciprocal teaching, formative assessment applies. And so then you talk a little bit about formative assessment. But maybe it's not the main topic of your whole paper. It just depends on what you find. Here's the thing: your research, your articles, your books, your web pages dictate or tell you what your main topic, what you are going to develop in your literature review. We're not going to do it the other way. Don't think like, this is how I'm going to organize my literature review without doing the readings. That's the wrong approach. Okay, so first it's read a lot and say, okay, I have this idea, this idea, this idea. Now I'm going to organize these ideas and start developing my literature review. We're not going to do it the other way.
Because I can organize, for example, I can get one idea from here,
Exactly.
If they are similar, I can make a concept from this, for example, to this area, and make some clients as in the video.
Right. We don't want to do it the other way. No queremos formar las ideas del lit review sin leer la literatura. Porque ahora ya estamos tratando de ver, okay, quiero hablar de X cosa y voy a buscarla, pues, pero si no la encuentro, si no puedo encontrar la información, sería más difícil. No, primero vamos a leer mucho, artículos, libros, primero los artículos de este tipo, luego libros y páginas, y luego vamos a ver, ok, esas son las ideas que encontré, son relacionados, voy a organizar en esta forma, ¿sí? Entonces, I don't know if you remember from your academic writing class, but you were asked to do an annotated bibliography.
Yes, I remember.
So that is a technique that you can apply here.
Yeah, that's what I said. We wrote some topics on this kind of stuff.
All right, great. That's great. So each one you have a post-it for each one of your sources, and then once you have all your post-its, then put them together. Put them. Some maybe not apply, others you formulate and put in order. That's a very good strategy. But right now, skim. Read as much as you can, but skim through and just find the articles and books that you think apply.
Okay, books, I can also start finding some.
Right, but I would start with primary research articles so that you focus, because the first thing that we have to do, Cuauhtemoc, is update this page. So we have to get steps 1 through 4 completed first, and because that tells us the direction in which we want to focus on. And so to do this, my recommendation is to find those 2 to 4 primary research articles to say, okay, there's plenty of research on this. Because you know, if you can find articles, you more than likely can find books and websites. Okay, so the main thing is those primary research articles. And let's start there. Find those. Update this. Narrow down your topic. If you want, send me an email on Canvas when you've updated this.
Okay.
And I'll look at it again and I'll give you comments and we'll go from there. If you feel like you need to come back and we'll talk, that's fine. Or we can talk in our next tutoring session. But within today and tomorrow, this needs to be updated and you need to begin continue reading and beginning to write up your literature review. We have until February 28th to finish our literature review. So we still have time, but this week we need to start uploading the literature, start writing it up. And whenever you start writing, I would go to your Google Drive document and go to the section where your literature review is, which is right here. Okay. The first thing I would do is add your research questions here. I would also just write a thesis statement here only. You don't have to write your entire introduction, but just so you have an idea of the main idea of your literature review. And then what I would do is start with the headings here. Write out those main ideas and indicate the order in which you want to present those ideas. Obviously, you need to read as much as you can first. But use this template here as kind of an outline. And then go in and start filling in this information. If at any time you want me to look at this, send me an email on Canvas and I'll look at it and I'll be able to see kind of how you're organizing your ideas. I may ask you, well, why are you presenting this after this topic? Or in this, why are you mentioning this? Maybe this goes in here. I can give you feedback on the organization as we work together each week, instead of me just looking at it at the very end on February 28th, looking at the end product. Okay, so as much as you can give me here, we can work together each week on our tutoring sessions and or via Canvas or the comments in Google Drive to try to direct you and guide you throughout the writing process. But I think within today and tomorrow, read a lot, and you should by tomorrow have this information updated, your 4 steps, narrowing down your topic, again looking at this second section, because I want to find out. What do you want to find out? I want to find out how reciprocal teaching, right, guides students or allow students to practice reading comprehension. Or I want to find out how reciprocal teaching helps students learn more vocabulary, or learn more vocabulary in class. Something, these are examples, and I'm using reciprocal teaching only as an example because that was what we did here. But you need to decide on what that topic is. That links reading comprehension to some other linguistic topic, or it can be vocabulary. Maybe it's maybe grammar, pronunciation. Maybe it's a teaching technique, etc. Or assessment. You mentioned assessment. Maybe it's related to assessment if you find some information there. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Here. Okay, so let's do that, and see me again. When is our next tutoring session?
On Friday.
On Friday. So today's Tuesday. Like tomorrow, if you still are really lost, come back and see me.
Okay. No, I think I'm gonna do that. You said I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna read.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read, and I want to clarify my ideas about the things that you said, and I'm gonna send you an email.
Okay.
And you said, okay, this would be a good topic. Start
before you send me an email, though, please update
Yes.
steps 1 through 4. Update that, then send me an email, and then I'll look at this and I'll respond to your email.
Okay. This conversation was recorded, right?
Yes,
Are you gonna
I'm gonna
upload it?
upload this later today. So
Okay.
this afternoon, this should be available. Do you know where to access the videos
Yes.
in Canvas?
In the playlist, right?
In the playlist, right in the playlist.
Okay.
So you may have to select the playlist and select your name, but it should be up there this afternoon.
Okay.
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 All right, Cuauhtemoc. We'll talk again on Friday if you don't have any doubts. Otherwise, if you do, send me, let me know.
Okay.